to the Des Clark and Alex Brown Show, live from the Tilted Kilt in Vernon HIlls at 447 Milwaukee Avenue. You could be anywhere in the world, but we appreciate that you're here with us tonight. And when I say us, I'm talking about Mr. Ryan Steele, Mr. Alex Brown, and myself, Des Clark. Got an action-packed show tonight. Like I said, I'm glad you guys are here. Let's get right into it. And the first thing that we really got to talk about is the Chicago Bears.
Right.
Just fell to 75. Mm-hmm. Alex, where is this team going?
I think they're, without Matt Forte and without Jay Cutler, I honestly believe they're moving backwards here. This week I think they can get things together and they can pull out a win against Denver with the two defenses kind of canceling the offenses out. I think the Bears have a better special teams. They have a better, they can score on defense. They have a better defense, actually. I mean, the Denver defense gives up 24 points a game. The Bears give up 20 points a game. So not that much better, but 4 points will win a game. So I think they should win this week, but I think the playoffs I think they're gone without Matt Forte and Cutler.
And then looking back at last week, Ryan, do you have any confidence that this team could put together a string of victories to pull out any kind of hope for playoffs?
Well, so much went wrong last week. Mm-hmm. It wasn't just one area of the game, it was everything. The defense played okay, but when it came time to make a stop of Tyler Palko, we kind of let it slip, especially right at the end of the first half when they drove down and threw the crazy play that decided the game. But so many things went wrong. I think Lance Lewis, the guard that we should have tackled, who's been playing phenomenal until last week. Mm-hmm. I'm a little concerned this week against the defensive front.
But he gave up, four or five sacks?
Yeah, he personally, the whole team gave up 7. Kansas City had 13 coming into the game, and we gave up 7 in one game to him. I believe also we have to get Haney back on like a 3-step quick read thing, sort of what we were doing with Jay, get rid of the ball, get the ball out of his hand. We are letting Haney move back, and then Haney just has to have confidence in himself to deliver that ball.
As for our viewers that's viewing live via web stream and www.desclarkshow.com, we want to give you the phone number that you can call in on. That's 773-382-8732, and you can call in with your questions and comments. Just carrying on with the conversation about the Bears last week, I looked at this team, and when I was looking at that game, playing Tyler Palko, I figured, and we talked about this last week, I didn't think it was going to be so much of a close game.
I did.
And you did.
And I did, yeah.
And if you recall, I sent you a tweet saying, I think it's going to be a little tighter than what we said before, but I thought that this team would be able to score on a defense like a Kansas City.
Right.
And seeing that they were not able to score on the Kansas City defense is a major cause of concern for me, because if you can't score on Kansas City, guess what? You're not going to score on Denver either, because that's a pretty good defense.
I don't know. I kind of disagree with that, because the week before they played Pittsburgh and they shut Pittsburgh down. They held Pittsburgh to 13 points, that Kansas City defense. So they lost to Pittsburgh 13-9, and I knew that defense coming in here would give us problems, us being the Bears offense. I knew that would happen. This week, all they really have to worry about is Dumerville and that pass rush.
Von Miller?
Von Miller, yeah. Okay. Dumerville and Von Miller. I don't think they're a very good defense. I don't think they're that good.
A thumb is not going to slow a defensive end outside linebacker down.
No, it's not. I don't think they're that good.
He's going to club it, right?
Going clubbing?
He's going clubbing.
I'd say Denver, they give up 24 points a game. They give up more yards than the Bears give up, and the Bears give up 360 yards a game. They give up a ton of yards. They give up 128 on the ground. So if the Bears are able to run the ball with Barber and Khalil Bell, if they are able to run the ball, which this team is very vulnerable to run the ball against, then I think that's how Mike Martz needs to attack this team. If he's trying to 5-step drop and throw the ball, they're going to have to put in another quarterback, because Haney's going to get killed back there.
What did you think about Haney's play last week? The past 2 weeks, he's not showing me anything that says he can hold down the fort until Cutler comes back, if he's coming back.
Haney, I believe he's got this physical tool set. I mean, he came from a smaller school, Colorado State. Well, maybe not smaller, but not as wide known. And I believe he's got the physical tool set. What he needs is confidence in himself. He came in kind of with a moxie in the Green Bay game last year in the playoffs. This year, he's just very tentative. He doesn't want to throw the ball downfield. There's a 3rd down and like 12, and he ran the ball for 1 yard, and he ran out of bounds. If throw the ball downfield, let your receivers make a play, get some confidence back in yourself. I believe he's got the physical tool set, but he's going to need some time to grow.
Going back to that championship game, though, everybody jumped on this Haney bandwagon, and now I'm a Haney fan. But last year, when you really look at that game against Green Bay, he threw an interception that went back for a touchdown.
That eventually was the
deciding play.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like he had great stats. So I don't understand all the love and all the, I guess, optimism that was created from that game.
Well, you have to look at that game. Now, we can talk about that game or we can talk about this year. Now, that game, they had no chance before he came in. Well, you could see that they didn't have a chance.
Todd Collins, who went in.
No. I'm talking about when Cutler was in there, they were getting their butt whooped.
Right.
Haney gave them a chance to win.
Todd Collins came in and made it worse.
Todd Collins, he made it worse. And then Haney came in, he gave him a chance. Right now, I think what Haney really needs, Haney needs help. People say he threw 3 picks. He did. He did throw 3 picks. One was inside the 5-yard line that Roy Williams should have caught. That should have been a touchdown. Okay, that should have been a touchdown. The one at the end of the game where they threw a Hail Mary from the 20-yard line that they got caught, you can't count that, you know? And then people say he threw 3 interceptions. He didn't. I mean, he did throw them, but he didn't because that last one shouldn't count. Even the first one, when you say he should give his receivers a chance, that's what he did. And Johnny Knox didn't go up and make the play.
Johnny Knox on that one deep throw, Johnny Knox needed to adjust
that's
the ball
a chance.
better.
That's what he had to do.
He also missed a few chances. He had Earl Bennett swinging out wide open, open, overthrew that one. It just comes down to a confidence issue with him. Like, he needs to feel that he can make the play. He needs to feel that he can have leadership of that team. And right now, I don't see that in Haney through his body language and through his play in the field. That he says, you know what, guys, I got it. Don't worry.
He gives bad body language when they drop the ball. That's what he does. He gives bad. I would too. And how can you gain confidence if they keep dropping the ball? I'd stop throwing at the Roy Williams. That's what I stopped doing.
Well, I know how we can gain confidence right now with this whole Chicago Bear talk.
I think so.
And what we could do, we could bring the expert himself on.
Yes.
I think we should bring
Chicago's
in the Bears expert.
Jeff Dickerson. Jeff Dickerson, will you join us on this panel of conversation and actually make this an intelligent conversation?
Wait, are we really depending on JD to raise our IQ level?
I know, yeah, we have to. Well, he's going to raise the average
JD to raise your IQ level.
Okay, get all your text messages out.
Yeah.
Take off your jacket. Make sure you're comfortable before you come over here because we want you to get nice and comfortable.
Going back to Roy Williams,
I wouldn't. If I was Haney, it would bother me to have confidence in him because he doesn't catch the ball.
I'm surprised anybody has confidence in him. I mean, seriously.
Somebody upstairs have confidence in him.
What was it? When I saw that play, it made me think of the new Hall of Famer in the Major League Baseball. He dropped the ball!
Right.
Yeah, was it Brent Brown that dropped the ball in left field for the Cubs?
It's a Cubs story.
It was Ron Sano, the new Hall of Famer.
Man.
Come on.
Look, I walk in here and
here we go with the Cubs.
Here's JD.
AB is a man after my own heart here because I would never run Roy Williams out there ever again.
Well, how could you?
You've got a backup quarterback who you have to help this guy out. You got to make plays. I remember when Roy Williams first had his press conference with us at training camp, and he goes, "One thing about me, I'm the most quarterback-friendly guy you'll ever meet. I never fool the quarterback. All I've seen him do this year is fool the quarterback."
Right,
I mean,
exactly.
when the plays are there and it's your backup quarterback, you got to help the guy out. Now, Haney didn't play that well. Obviously, against Kansas City, nobody did. He's turned the ball over way too much. But still, the Bears have been in position to win these last 2 games. I mean, I'll make the argument that if Roy makes that catch, if Marion Barber doesn't line up off sides or line up illegally on that 1 touchdown pass, Robbie Gould never misses field goals, so that was kind of a fluke. Bears should have won that game 27-10. And then, even with all that bad stuff, we're still talking about a win and another winnable game this Sunday in Denver. So you got to help them out.
2 touchdowns by Caleb Haney if we do catch those passes and line up on sides. Then you're talking about Caleb played a decent game, but still, I think Caleb he's shown he's just an average quarterback. He hasn't shown to me that he could get this team to the promised land until Jay Cutler could possibly come back.
Is he better than Tebow?
We're gonna have that conversation. We're going to have that conversation. I want to talk a little bit about Matt Forte also. What?
I was Tebowing. I'm over Tebowing.
What's going on with Matt Forte? And I kind of have a basis because I think I had the same injury.
Right.
Got hit in a little different way. What's going on with Matt Forte and how soon can the fans anticipate him coming back?
Well,
if he's going to come back at all.
You guys know that normally that's about a 4-week injury to come back from. And if you're a running back, it's much more difficult because you make your money with your legs. I know that he wants to come back before 4 weeks, and the Bears are going to do everything in their power, wink, wink, to get him back on the field before 4 weeks.
Talking about like a PRP injection?
They had the PRP injection. I'm not a doctor, but I kind of understand the gist of it, where you draw blood and it gets recycled, and they put in the growth elements and the platelets, and it goes back in the infected area, and it gets you back on the field quicker. I know that Earl Bennett had a sprained knee, and he had the PRP injection, and he was back out there in 2 weeks. Everyone's body is different. I just know that if he was going to just kind of mail it in and say, I'm not coming back because the contract, you guys did me wrong.
Put a stamp on it.
Why do
Put a stamp on it.
Right.
It's over.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think he would be going to the lengths he's going to get back on the field if that was in his mind. So maybe Green Bay, maybe Minnesota. I just don't know if when he gets back out there how effective he's going to be and how close to 100% he's going to be.
Jeff, if he gets hurt, do they still pay him?
You know the Bears.
I know.
So why would he come back?
So why come back? I mean, why do people think he should come back? I don't think he should. Honestly, I don't think he should come back. He should wait and come back 100 or as close to 100% as possible.
And that's easy for us to say now since we're on this side, because I guarantee you, if you was in the same situation
but I've never been in that situation.
Because you'll be wanting to play.
I've never been in that situation where the Bears wouldn't take care of me. I shut my mouth. I do what I'm supposed to do. I go out, and not only do I play well, I have more yards than anybody up to the time I got hurt from scrimmage in the league. And you still won't pay me?
I asked that question to a lot of people, his inner circle, and I said, well, what's the benefit of him coming back? Why would he do it? And they go, well, look, if he was going to play that game with them and be bitter and take that personally, he wouldn't have played at all this year in the first place. He would have held out.
That's not
so
true.
That's what they say.
No, because he didn't have a reason not to play. Like when he came in, it was 100%. He can go play. He's been training. He's not hurt. He has an injury, a legit injury, where he can say, well, it takes me 4 weeks to come back. That's it. I'll be back in 4 weeks. Well, 4 weeks, the season's over. Well, I'm sorry. He can.
He can, absolutely.
How can you say, or how can anyone say that he's wrong for it? Well, that's how much time it takes for it to heal. It's documented. That's what the doctors say.
6 weeks.
It's 4 to 6, 4 being the least. If he stays out 4 weeks, how can everybody say that, okay, well, Matt, you're wrong. You shouldn't do it.
It just seems like he wants to come back. I'm with you, AB. I'm not saying, I think you can make the argument either way. If he chooses to not come back, that's his right.
If he chooses not to now, will everybody still believe, like regardless of what you say, anybody says, everybody will still think it was because of his contract if he doesn't come back now?
But I think most people are on his side.
Saying that he shouldn't come back.
Most people are on Forte's side, without a doubt. Who's ever on the Bears side?
I don't think anybody would question him if he doesn't come back. I think he has the public opinion saying, okay, whatever Matt chooses to do, I'm going to stick behind Matt. Because they know that he deserves to be paid. They know that he went out and played his ass off. And they know that he didn't get the contract that he wanted.
I can argue both sides.
This is how I look at it. You guys were consummate team players. I never saw AB miss a game. I saw AB play through everything. You had a guy break your ribs and you were back in a couple of weeks. You guys were fast healers. I think the way Forte also looks at it is this. They need him back if they're going to make the playoffs. If they really want to have a shot at winning a playoff game, they need Matt Forte back there. So he's a very popular guy in the locker room. You know that. So I think his teammates want him back because they want to win games. So that's a tough situation for a guy while everyone knows it's a business and you've got to get yours. And your window of playing, as you guys know, is so short. You got to get paid when you can get paid. But he seems like he wants to be back and try to help this team make the playoffs. So I can't fault him for that.
Right.
I can't fault him for wanting to come back and play and helping the Bears, win these last few games if possible.
I hope it is about winning. I know he's 3 yards. He's 3 yards from getting 1,000 yards. And I know
and that's
being
a
close,
milestone, yeah.
it is. Yeah. Being close to 10 sacks is like having 8 is not enough. So having that 1,000-yard season, I know he has to think about that, but I hope he doesn't get hurt, because if he doesn't, he won't get paid.
Well,
and that's just
what if
how
he
it
does come back, leads the team to several victories without Cutler there? Does that give him more bargaining chip? Does that basically mean he can write his own check? Not necessarily with the Bears.
No.
Oh, he's going to be with the Bears for the next 2 years.
Well, they're going to franchise him, but what I'm saying is, does that really help fan pressure to either get Angelo to sign a check or get out of town?
Because when's the last time that worked?
Yeah, I don't think Jerry cares much about
He doesn't
what the
care.
fan.
He doesn't
Jerry
care.
would sell his own wife if it meant.
Tell me this. Tell me, does Jerry care about March leaving town?
I don't believe so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
And you're down in that locker room and you're speaking to the coaches every day. What is the overall perception of March in that building? Do you think people want to see him go? Me personally, even though he didn't play me in 2010, and
He cut me in 2009.
no, I'm talking about Mike Martz.
Oh, Mike Martin, no.
Yeah, there wasn't a Brandon Manu Maluna situation for you,
that's
AB.
true.
That was
So I
just for
said the
Des.
bench,
That was a
but
Pepper situation.
I would still like to see this guy stay here. And I know the play calling and all that, but look, he took an offense to the NFC Championship game last year. He also took this offense to where it was playing where everybody was pretty satisfied with the results that this offense was getting, and most importantly, Jay Cutler was playing his best football in 3 or 4 years. So why break that up when you're just not starting to roll with the offense now?
Well, to answer your first question, I get the sense that there are a lot of people that wouldn't mind seeing him go. I mean, his contract's up after this year. It's a lot more difficult for Lovey to step in and bring a guy back when he's not under contract. Lovey isn't drawing up the paperwork and saying, all right, Martz, here's what I'm going to offer you. That's not his thing. Lovey's a very loyal guy, so I know that there's a part of him that wants to keep Mike Martz, but I just think what I hear is that the play calling is just too unpredictable. There have been too many bad play calls, too many key moments in key games where you just shake your head and wonder what the heck is going on. And that dates back to last year, the title game, the fourth quarter, the end around to Earl
Bringing me
Bennett.
off the bench cold.
I mean, Dez is out there as a wide receiver, and I'm like, oh my goodness, he hasn't been in the game once, and this guy's going to go out there and run this play as a wide receiver. So there's been a lot of bad play calls, and that's working against him. I don't believe that he necessarily sees eye to eye with all the assistant coaches. I'm not saying they're stabbing him in the back. I just mean from a philosophical standpoint, I don't think that they're really seeing eye to eye. That's why it would be an easy move for them to just let Martz drift away after this year and promote someone like Mike Tice, who Jerry Angelo is very high on.
Would he run the ball more?
I
Mike
think you would
Tice?
definitely
Mike Tice
run
will
the
run the
ball.
ball.
Mike Tyson's going to run the ball 40 times a game.
Nonstop.
Well, having somebody like Forte, who I think and have thought before this year, I thought he was a top 3 back. I think he is pushing for the best back in the league, honestly. I really think he is the most complete back in the league. He can do it all. He blocks, he catches screens, he can run the ball. He's right there with Adrian. I'm so happy he said no to that $14 million guarantee. So happy, because he's worth so much more. But giving him 2 carries a game in an entire game, giving him 11 carries in an entire game, I think that is very unacceptable.
Yeah.
The guy needs 20, 25 carries, and I think he'll be that 1,500, 1,600 yard back that everybody. It's in Chicago. It's Chicago. You run the ball, you play great defense.
A couple things, on the March situation. Obviously, scratch your head in the last week's game. As soon as Matt went down, Marion Barber knocked out for a few runs, was running with some great energy and enthusiasm. Khalil Bell comes off the bench, pops a big one, and then it became the pass happy. We were only down 1 score. We didn't need to throw the ball to get back in the game. We needed to move the ball down the field and run, and we could have done it running the ball. And for him to completely abandon that and allow, obviously Lance Lewis was, just having an off day, it just seems odd. With that being said, Lovey mentioned who started that rumor. I'm going to probably, if I'm going to throw a dart, I would probably say Martz's agent.
I would agree 100%.
He
That's
needs
the guy
something
who did
going
it.
up. Furthermore, why don't we explore the next topic? The likelihood is Martz is gone. JD mentioned that Mike Tice might step up, but he'll probably change the system quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Do we want to do that to Cutler? There could be some other potential out there, and the one name that I keep in my head, he's currently employed, but probably not much longer, is out in San Diego. They run a very, very similar style offense.
They run the same offensive system.
Jay wouldn't have to learn that much. And Norm Turner, not ever really a good head coach, but nobody argues his acumen as an offensive coordinator. And he's not as a polarizing a figure as Mike Martz.
It's a very good name. I sort of like the idea because the Bears are going to have a success. I mean, it's going to be a successful season. I think they'll win a couple of games here down the stretch. Maybe they make the postseason. Maybe they don't. So I don't really think that justifies cleaning house entirely. So that's why I sort of feel like if you have a really good candidate already there, bump him up. Remember, Mike Tice had some really good offenses in Minnesota. He did come up with the Randy ratio, which was kind of weird. Maybe he can make it the Earl ratio because my guy Earl Bennett has disappeared the last 2 weeks.
One catch
Thanks to Mike Martz.
It's the shoes.
I think it's Haney. It's Haney, and Haney throws to Johnny Knox on second when they're doing the scout team. He never throws to Earl Bennett. He feels more comfortable throwing to him.
Every quarterback has their guy.
So it shouldn't be a surprise that Bennett's production has gone down a little bit.
He hasn't been AB. Surprisingly, though, they've cut his number of snaps the last 2 weeks.
Really?
I don't know why. Especially after he signed the contract extension.
For Roy?
Roy's been on the field a lot more.
Oh, man.
Devin Hester got back on the field last week during offense.
Get him on the field, but Hester needs to be Hester. Just do Hester. Just special teams. That's how he affects stuff.
Back on the field?
He shouldn't touch the field
They keep
anymore.
all 6 wide receivers up. You saw Sansabacher, Sam Hurd.
I don't think he and Roy should be on the bench getting warm. They should stay warm.
I'm with you on that. So anyway, but just for Tice, I think there's a track record there, and you got to remember. The GM, that's the guy that pushed to hire Mike Tice. He's a big fan. I think the players think Tice is an all right guy. I mean, the terminology up front. I really got to say, I mean, the offensive line hasn't been as problematic as most of us thought it was going to be this year.
Right.
You know, Lance Lewis fell off a cliff last week. That was unfortunate. But, he's bouncing around from guard to tackle, doing an okay job. He's done it. Mike Tice has done good work in the 2 years that he's been here. He's got experience, former head coach. So that's why I think if Martz goes, as I think he's going to, that just seems like a logical fit to bump up Tice.
And just like Tice, man, doing a good job, you always do a good job for us.
Well, I just do my best. I mean,
you do a good job.
I'm like the Adam Podlish of you guys.
That's why we bring you in, do what you do, and make the show an intelligent show because there's not a whole lot going on when it's just us three.
I mean, I went to UF, so
if you're looking for me to raise the
I went to UF,
there's not a whole lot of stuff going on. If you want to call into the Des Clark Alex Brown Show, you can call in at 773-382-87332. We're going to go on a 5-minute break. We want to thank JD for coming out.
Thanks, Jeff.
JD at ESPNChicago.com. Y'all check out his columns, and we appreciate it, Jeff.
Thank you, boys.
We'll be right back in 5 minutes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and as promised here at Tilted Kilt on the Des Clark and Alex Brown Show, we're going to give away some prizes to the audience. We always give away prizes to those people who attend in person. Tonight, we're at 447 North Milwaukee Avenue, the Tilted Kilt. Good food, good scenery, and good show. But tonight, we got a trivia question about the Bears. The winner gets a $25 gift pack here to the Tilted Kilt. First person to answer the question. Opening day, 1990. Chicago Bears.
Hold on. Raise your hand and I'll pick them.
Raise your hand first, and Mr. Clark will pick somebody. If you get the answer right, we'll move on. The answer, 1990 opening day. Who was the Chicago Bears quarterback?
Here.
Jim Harbaugh is indeed the answer. I know. The guy, excuse me, the guy doesn't have a life outside the Bears. I mean, seriously, 21 years ago today, 21 years ago, Jim Harbaugh was under center for the Chicago Bears. We have a winner here at the Des Clark and Alex Brown
Show. Some of that bill that you got to pay because everybody said they're going to hand it to you.
So come on out to the Tilted Kilt. You can win some prizes. We'll be here next week as well. Special guest joining us next week, I believe, is Otis Wilson.
Otis Wilson will be in the
double
house
nickel
next
from
week.
the 1980.
1985, great.
Hey, welcome back to the Des Clark and Alex Brown Show, live from the Tilted Kilt in Vernon HIlls at 447 Milwaukee Avenue. Like I said, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate it. We're going to start back into the show talking a little college football. BCS bowl games. I know we got an Alabama fan in here somewhere who's quite happy about Alabama making this rematch.
War Eagle. Oh, wait.
Whoa, wrong school.
See, you just cheer for everybody. See,
I know he's happy that Alabama is playing. Are you guys happy to see the rematch, or would you have liked to see somebody else be in that BCS title game?
I think somebody else deserves a shot. The LSU Alabama game was a 6-3 game, a nail biter. that LSU went into Alabama and beat them. If they have to play them again, then that game means nothing.
It does. I mean, if Alabama wins, then they win the championship.
Well, if Alabama wins, then Alabama can actually be the national champ without actually winning the conference. And how is that right?
In 2009.
That can't be right. I think we have to have a playoff. We need one.
2009, I'm going to give you a quote. You tell me who said it.
We do.
If you don't win your own conference, you don't deserve to be in the championship game. That was a quote. Who said it?
No,
Probably
I don't
Nick
know.
Saban.
Nick Saban.
Well, I don't know if I agree with it because let's say LSU lost that SEC championship game.
Right.
Does anybody believe they're not the best team anymore? No, they're still the best team out there. They just lost that game. They're still the best team. I think the two best teams.
How can you say they're the best team if they lose in the championship game?
Well, you can lose. I mean, when Florida won one of the national title games, they lost the game.
Yeah, but they didn't lose. They didn't lose in
the
the championship game.
Alabama, they didn't even play in the game. They didn't even play in the game.
Is it?
We're talking about who's the best team.
That's just the way the system is set up. You can't blame Alabama
Right.
for
System
that.
that
You
we
can't
have.
blame Alabama.
Right.
It is a flawed system. If Alabama, LSU, let's say, okay, before that game, Alabama is at home. They have no worries at all because they know they're in the championship
game.
game.
Well,
LSU's the only team that's worrying. They're the number one team in the country.
Oklahoma State was trying to get up to number 2 also.
Oklahoma State was actually number 2 in all the computer rankings. Number 2 in the polls, the human voted polls, was Alabama. By the way, I believe Nick Saban voted for Oklahoma State to
Be number 4.
number 4,
Oh,
which
absolutely.
lowered them in the polls.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know where the Oklahoma. I don't even know who honestly, I don't know who the coach of Oklahoma State is, where he voted. But let me say this: if Oklahoma State wanted to be in the championship game, take care of your business in Iowa State.
Well, you can also say
Iowa
that for
State.
Alabama also.
Yeah, but that was to number 1 LSU. We're talking Iowa State. They got hit by a cyclone. With that being said, there was that tragedy in the Oklahoma State family that week.
Right.
Where the female basketball
Right.
coach and the recruiter, the assistant coach, died on a recruiting trip.
So does anybody think that Stanford should have had a chance?
No.
No.
They got
What about Houston? What if Houston wins?
No, Houston lost.
What
Houston
if they
got-
won?
No, they
Bears.
play in. They play.
So there's a lot of reasons why they shouldn't play. They
no,
undefeated.
listen.
Well, how
they
about this-
play in Conference USA.
I understand that.
How about a +1 system? How would you like to see where, like the top 4 teams, say LSU, Stanford 1-4, and then Oklahoma State,
And
Alabama,
Alabama.
and then add one more game? There are 5 weeks we have to wait for this championship game. You don't
Correct.
think we can get 2 games in there?
I think you can have an 8-game playoff. Now, who are the 8 teams that you put in there? I don't know. I mean,
You go to the BCS system and you take the top 8 teams.
1 versus 8, 2 versus 7, and let them go.
but
and have
number
a playoff.
9, number
But where do
9
you
is
play
kind
the
of
game?
upset right now.
But, okay, that's fine. But right now you got number 3 upset, and they have a legitimate argument of being. But what you do with number 9, you're so far down the ladder that they can't say we could have been the national champion. They could say it, but the argument is a little different.
Well, who is number 9 this year?
Number 9 this year
I
would
honestly
be
don't know.
South Carolina.
Okay, well, yeah, there's no chance for them to be
Well,
there.
they
But
lost
who's
their
number-
starting running back too. So
Yeah,
they
who's number 5?
Number
if I go with my
Oregon.
concept, Oregon would be out, and Oregon did lose 2 games. They lost
They
to
did. I mean,
LSU.
Even if you take the top 4, there's going to be some
And
whining
lost to
about I
USC.
was top 4, but
Right.
still, at least you making it where it's not just a one game and
Yeah.
the computer system adding it up just for 2 teams. I'd rather have 4 teams in there. That eliminates some of the debate. It's not going to eliminate all of it, but I think that system is a better system than a one-game championship.
My comment to that is, the people that say if you can't win your conference, you don't deserve to play in the championship game. I have a few things to say. Pittsburgh Steelers a few years ago, Green Bay Packers just last year,
right.
St. Louis Cardinals this year, all came in as wild cards. They didn't win
Good
their own
point.
divisions, and yet they won the championship of their respective leagues.
So you're saying that you can be the best team in the league, but not be the best team in your conference.
Yes, I'm saying that.
Okay, so you can get hot.
Anybody can get hot at a given time. The
Anybody
Packers got
can.
hot at the end of last year. If we remember
I
games.
agree with you. I agree with you now.
The 16th game of the season last year, the Packers game in Chicago, had the Bears beaten the Packers wouldn't have even made the playoffs.
Correct.
And then they went on a roll and won every game on the road. So you got to hand it to them.
Well, no. We knew that though. everybody knew that was going to happen.
Knew what was going to happen.
Everybody was scared. Everybody knew that if Green Bay got in the playoffs, they were going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah,
think so?
but nobody didn't think that they were going to go on a run that they went on because they had a depleted roster, and they were fighting, they were scrapping. But I don't think the majority of the people would have said that Green Bay was going to come in as a 6th seed. Am I right? Yeah.
Atlanta hosted them.
They were a good team and they were peaking, but I didn't think that they were going to come in and run the
they
table
just
like they
destroyed
did.
Atlanta.
That Green Bay team, and I'm sitting up here, and I'm gonna, for about the next 30 seconds, I'm gonna take up for Green Bay right here. And Green Bay,
he said that. Not
yeah,
us.
I did
Yeah.
say it. Yes, I
In
did.
case lightning strikes.
And Green Bay,
Did you play with the Bears?
Yes, I did.
Do we know you?
Absolutely.
Do
And
we
I played
even
my
know
butt
you?
off. Yes. And Green Bay, they were basically in a playoff from the last 4 games of the season.
I agree with that.
They had a different mindset than Atlanta. They went in that dome. They were faster. They were already in that mode of we have to win. Atlanta, that whole year, were finding weird ways to win. They wouldn't turn the ball over, but they'd get that last turnover. Like when they played San Francisco, they throw an interception. Clement, the corner for San Francisco,
right.
Instead of just going down when he intercepts the ball with a
he
minute to go in the
fumbles the
game, he runs and they strip the ball out. Like that's how they were winning.
I mean, but they were what, 14-2?
They were the best. They had the best record in NFC.
Yeah. So I mean,
And
something's got to be said for that.
I
They didn't
think
win
Matt
those
Ryan
games by
played
luck.
great. They got caught with a bad
draw.
bad draw and whatever. But I think that yes, you give Boise State a chance. You give Houston a chance. You give these smaller schools a chance if you play in a playoff. 8 games though. 4 games isn't enough because 4 games, what are you gonna have? Just like you have in the international title game now. You're gonna have 4 SEC schools. That's what you're gonna have.
4 SEC schools?
Probably,
Are you
yeah.
freaking kidding me?
We won't. I know what we won't have. We won't have an ACC school. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Ooh.
In the top 4, we would not have that.
Well, I was watching a game, and they say the ACC has just as many players in the last, 8 years as the SEC in the NFL?
Right.
In the
You have
NFL.
great players. You have great players. We have great teams.
Yeah.
Team players.
That's
We're
okay.
teams. Come
Oh,
on.
teams.
Come on. I mean, you can't. If we're trying to pull off the impossible, and I say we, I mean the SEC.
6 in a row.
No. That's not impossible for us. That's going to happen. What's impossible for us
Yeah,
is a whole decade. Can we win a decade worth of national titles? That's nuts. In a row? Come on.
So you're pulling for LSU and
You know what? I don't care who wins. SEC's going to win it. It doesn't
Can I
matter.
just say this? This is going to be
I
the
don't care.
first time that an SEC team will lose the national championship game.
Absolutely, and I hope it's Alabama, and I am going to go back on what I just said.
Oh, give us
so
a break
is this
out
some of
there.
this
Don't do
cater
that
chomp?
freaking chop
I'm
out
going to
there.
go
Give
back
us a
on what I
break.
said because
Suck
I
up.
honestly hope LSU wins and the only reason I hope they win is because they already beat Alabama once, and Alabama should not beat them and then get it. Now, LSU's hard enough to beat anyway. Now they got to go play them in the Dome. That's a home game. That's a home game for them.
Where's the game being played?
Superdome. They played it at Alabama.
Okay.
LSU wins this game going away.
Going away.
Going away. They blow
Going
them away.
away.
Blow them away.
Yeah, do you believe that they're going to keep the same quarterback at LSU? Because there was some debate last
Doesn't
game
matter.
whether they were going to.
There was debate at the beginning of the
They
season.
beat them without
They-
Jefferson the first time.
Yeah, they just plug people in. They have so many athletes, so many great players, good players that they plug in, and they know the system. And their coach he's hard nosed. I like him.
Now, if only
Come on,
we
the
could have
Mad
that
Hatter?
kind of a system
Yeah.
here in
Oh, yeah.
Chicago.
Fourth and 2, he's going for it.
Gotta
he's
love
treating
it.
it like 3rd and 2. He's going. He loves it. Oh man, I like it.
I remember
Les
a
Miles,
few years ago
unbelievable.
when they were, before Rich Rod was hired in Michigan, they were saying that they were going to trade in, Moeller. Who was the coach? I can't remember the coach at Michigan before Rich
Michigan?
Rodriguez. They're going to trade him in for a coach with less miles on him.
No, it was Carr before Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah, they're going to trade in the car for one with less miles.
Right.
That was a joke.
How about this? How
That's
about
a lame
staying in
joke, I
college?
know.
Staying in college. Let's come back up here to the Midwest.
Uh-oh.
How do you feel about
Are you going to say
Michigan's
this?
coach? right now, do they have a coach right now?
Michigan?
Rodriguez, right? That's
No,
it?
he's down in Arizona.
Okay, who do they have right now?
They have the brother
guy from San Diego State.
Yeah, the coach, the defensive backs coach here, who was at Florida with you. His brother.
Oh, Hope.
Hope. They have
Coach
Hope. Yeah.
He's in
Yes.
trouble
Why is he in trouble?
because
They're in the BCS game. How's he in trouble?
no. He's in trouble because Urban Meyer just took the job at Ohio State.
Is that what it is?
That's why he's in trouble.
Is that what it is?
He will
I
be.
thought he was in trouble because Illinois is going to hire a new coach.
Oh no, he's not gonna. He will not beat Ohio State again.
You believe?
Wow. Again.
Done.
Ever.
Over.
Just because Urban Meyer's there.
Yes.
What?
Do you know
Wow,
Urban Meyer?
that is a
Do you know
bold
Urban
prediction.
Meyer? Okay. Urban Meyer took Bowling Green
Yeah.
and
Then
made him a
Utah.
top 25 team.
Then Utah.
Took Utah, made him a top 10 team. Went to Florida where he had athletes and actually won 2 national titles.
So what's he gonna do with
At Ohio State? He's gonna do the same thing. He's gonna win 3 years. Ohio State to win national title. Absolutely. I think so. And I think he would have won 3 had he had Pryor there because that's what he needs. He needs a running back, a quarterback that can run and
the
throw.
ball.
And if he gets that, it's over.
Talking about this Michigan team, I want to know how in the heck did they get into a BCS bowl game?
They didn't even win their conference. They didn't
No.
win their division in their
No.
conference.
Well,
how
Michigan
does that
State
happen?
did. And Michigan State lost.
And they're number 13
I
in
know.
the nation.
It's
I'll
bowl
tell you
games.
why.
I mean, you get bowl games. You get the number 2 pencil bowl game. You get the Amco bowl. I mean, come on. You got so many bowl games out there. It's
The
ridiculous.
Meineke Car Care Bowl of Houston. That's where Northwestern is playing this
it
year at
dilutes it.
6-6. But I will tell you why. Michigan has one of the largest followings. They added, 20,000 more seats to the big house,
So
and they
basically,
sell
it's
out.
all about money.
It is a business.
When has it not been?
It's
When
all
has it
about
not
money.
been about money?
When has it
But
not
look,
been?
you look at this Cotton Bowl game. You got a number 8 Kansas State playing against a number 6 Arkansas.
Easy.
That
They're
sounds
close.
Like,
People
that-
can make it to Dallas.
But that sounds like a BCS matchup more than Michigan.
You give me
and
another
Virginia
team
Tech.
that can draw a crowd to go to Dallas.
From where? How far are we traveling?
Well, this is what I'm talking about.
no.
Ohio State.
Well,
Look at
But
the people that were available for a BCS game in the top.
It doesn't matter if these 2 teams are in a BCS bowl game. Then they got to find somebody anyway. And my argument is that these 2 teams should have been in a BCS bowl game, not in the Cotton Bowl. Number 6 and number 8. You looking at a Kansas State team and an Arkansas team.
They should have gone and
Yeah.
It's not a BCS game. I understand.
So when
It's
you
a
talk
bowl
about
game, but
snubs, these are the 2 teams that got
There's a lot
snubbed.
of-
No, Boise State. They
Well,
got
get-
snubbed.
Yes, they.
Houston.
don't
Houston did
miss
not
a
get
field goal.
snubbed.
That's what I say to Boise
Houston?
State.
Houston did not
Houston
get
got
snubbed.
snubbed.
Okay,
Houston did
what,
not get snubbed.
What
I don't
was
believe so.
Houston's
I don't-
final ranking?
If
They
you-
went from making their school went from making about $13 million to making about
No,
1.2.
they didn't get snubbed. They
Houston-
snubbed themselves.
Houston ended up being ranked number 19.
A couple of questions. Number one,
and
strength of
Boise
schedule.
State is ranked higher. They're
I
ranked top
agree.
10.
I agree with Boise State. They're
And
number 5.
And they should have
Strength
went to a better.
of schedule. That's what I will say about Houston.
Well, they
Who
can't-
did
they
they
don't make the
play?
schedule. They don't
Exactly.
make it.
It's not the point. When they finally played a team in the top 25, they looked embarrassed. It wasn't that
Which
game was
person?
close.
Which team?
They
Southern
played
Miss.
Southern Miss.
Southern Miss.
Right.
Okay.
Southern Miss in the championship game of their conference. And let me just state this. Boise State, make a field goal.
Right. I agree.
When you know that your strength of schedule is weak, you know that you've got to go out and you have got to deliver every single time.
I'm glad they missed that field goal.
Why?
You know why? Because I did not want to see the massacre that would have happened at the Superdome had they played LSU. Are you kidding me?
You know
That
what?
would've- yeah,
One of
that
the most
would've
one of the
Them
most
playing
disappointing
LSU.
things was 2 years ago. We had TCU and Boise State both make a BCS game, and they made them play against each other.
That was bad.
That was bad.
Although let's look back. Boise State. I mean, one of the greatest bowl games that I can recall in the last few
against
years.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. I mean, some of that play call in the the Statue of Liberty play.
Yeah.
Come on, man! And then he proposes. The running back proposed to his
Yes.
girl on the sidelines.
That was
That's a
classic.
game, and that is college football. It is that I love. And maybe we should have Boise State going to those games. But again, it comes down to dollars and cents. Does Boise State have the following that a Michigan has?
No.
Well, not that I'm Michigan,
I'm-
but why does
well-
it have to be Michigan? Jeez,
Okay.
who has the following that Michigan has?
there are some rabid schools that have some followings that I would rather pull. I'd rather pull Auburn than Boise State because they're going to get more fans.
No.
Especially if my bowl is in the South.
Depending on where it's at. Well, okay, yeah.
Most of the bowls are in the warm weather area.
okay.
Having Ohio State and Florida play, the Gator Bowl is just, they're looking great right now. Urban Meyer against his old team. Oh, they're loving it right now.
But when does it come into account which teams deserve to play in the bigger bowl games?
Well,
I think a top 5 team should not be left out of the BCS. It shouldn't be. If you're top 5, you should be in a BCS game.
Well,
you should get that large bid.
earn the right,
because,
yes.
Because the Big East, who doesn't deserve,
No, they do not.
they do not deserve
Boise State is now in the Big East.
Who is the
They
no,
are. Yes.
Boise State is now in the Big
and
East
now
with
I
San
think-
Diego
how is that?
State.
They moved it. No, now they're going to have to change the
No,
name.
how
got-
does the Boise State get into the Big East? That's what I want to
They
know.
have San Diego
Because
State in there.
Syracuse left, Pittsburgh left.
They have a ton of teams all across the country. They're going to have to call it
The Big Country.
USA.
The Big
or
Country.
something. It's got to be something else. Yeah. They're going to have to call it something else.
So who is representing the Big East anyway in the bowl game? Is it
Who
West-
won that?
I have.
Wow.
Who won it?
The Big East? I don't even know. It came down to didn't the tiebreaker come to the BCS standings in the Big East?
Yeah, let's see. I have it right here.
All I know is Northwestern is getting a lot of love in our chat room right now.
Oh, man.
Northwestern? For
Northwestern.
what?
Oh,
For
God.
what?
I can't say anything here because I want to go home tonight.
Oh, okay. Give
You
it.
probably better not.
Give it a break,
I
Sarah.
better stay clean on
I'll
that.
say it for you. Give it a break, Sarah. Northwestern is not
All
that
right.
good. But anyway, that goes to show that the Big East shouldn't even be in it. I can't.
I agree.
I have the
I-
schedule in front of me, and I can't find the Big East representative.
Wow.
I'm looking over them for some reason, and I'm
Yeah.
not trying to.
That
Well, isn't West Virginia Big East now?
West Virginia, I thought it was.
This is their last year. I think they're leaving. Or no, there's a lawsuit over them leaving. They want to leave, but
wanna
the Big
leave.
East is suing. Or
Well,
something.
with the people coming in, I mean, the teams that haven't left, they might just want to stay. I mean, I'm glad Boise State.
It is West
I'm
Virginia.
glad they're in there, and I hope now that they keep the bid, they keep the automatic bid to a BCS game.
They do.
If they're champion, because Boise gets their chance. Then
Yeah.
you're
And
gonna play better opponents. Because their hardest teams over the last 10 years, everybody talk about them being good. Their hardest team, their game to look forward to is the first game of the year that they'll play a Georgia, who they beat, who ended up being a pretty darn good team.
Georgia. Are you going to go down that path again, like praising Georgia again?
No, well, Georgia, they lost their first 2.
Oh, and as he said that, look who's walking through the door. Big Philip Daniels. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, my God. Oh, man, okay.
I actually,
Jeez, I did
Phil
not
actually
want to
had mentioned he
hear
was going to
that.
swing by tonight.
He probably will.
He was going to
He'll
swing by
come
tonight
out
because he
and
wants to
collect
make
his
sure you
debt.
pay up on
I
your
gotta
bet.
I gotta pay my debt to Phil
I was like, I'm not going to make him buy me a Tilted Kilt. He needs to put up some more.
All right, answer this
Oh.
question for me.
All right, we got a question.
Who is your Heisman winner this year?
Heisman Trophy. Well, the finalists, we got Robert Griffin III,
Yeah, we
Trent
do.
Richardson, Monty Ball,
Andrew Luck.
and Matthew from LSU, right? The DB that
Yes.
returns punts. Honey Badger.
Honey
Right.
Badger.
Is Andrew Luck still in there?
Andrew Luck's still in it.
Yeah.
He is.
I want to remind me. I want to ask a question about Andrew Luck when done, but I actually want to give it to Griffin. I would give it to RG3.
Well, yeah, I don't want to give it to anybody. Whoever earned it, that's
Well,
who earned
that's
it.
what I'm saying. I believe he earned it.
Okay.
Well,
And I would say, honestly, number 2, Monty Ball.
who? Moneyball.
Wisconsin running back. Look at the numbers. If you're going to go strictly off of numbers, look at his numbers. His numbers are better than Richardson's.
So, who did he play?
Who did he play?
He played the
Who
whole
did he
Big Ten
play?
schedule.
He played
Nebraska,
at SEC.
Michigan State
He played.
twice.
Oh hell.
Come on. I mean, everybody says, "Oh hell," when you say the SEC, but come on.
But hold on.
went to
Hold on.
Florida.
What did you just say? What did you just say about Houston? He don't make his schedule. He just got to play it.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, so stick to that.
Hold on. The Heisman now. The Heisman they have different rules. They're the big trophy. They can choose who they want, and if they think
And they
that
could choose who they want to go in these BCS games too.
not the Heisman.
The BCS game.
The BCS should be. They should give the top.
So you backtracking about
No,
the schedule?
I'm not because the
Okay.
top 5 team deserves to be in regardless.
But you was talking about Houston too, and they wasn't top 5.
They're not top. I'm talking about Boise State being top 5
Okay.
and they're not in. That's what I'm talking about.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm talking about.
I have a question. I want to go back about the Andrew
Moneyball.
Luck thing.
Moneyball. Yeah.
Monty Ball is what I say. Who do you
He'll
think
win
should
it
win
next year.
Who do you think should win it?
Robert Griffin.
You're going to go with
Third.
Robert Griffin. Tez, your choice.
He was amazing all year.
He was awesome.
I'm going with Robert Griffin. I mean, when you look at this kid's stats,
Oh man, it's crazy.
his rating is
I mean,
like
stats
211.
are amazing. It's one thing to have stats. It's another thing to have that certain quality that stats don't measure.
4,000 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions.
Yep.
644 yards rushing, 9 TDs.
9 on the ground.
9
Yeah.
on the ground. But this is the only knock against him. His team wasn't one of the top 10 teams in
No.
in the
But
nation.
who was on his team?
He was.
Neither was a 2000.
Who's on Andrew Luck's team?
He got some good tight ends.
What?
We
Name
don't know
them.
their
When
name.
An- when
Okay.
Andrew
I mean,
Luck
they're not
played
Kellen
a
Winslow,
tough team,
but
Huh?
When Andrew Luck had a tough game, did he rise to the occasion?
Did Robert Griffin rise to the
Absolutely.
occasion?
Oh my gosh!
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, why,
Even
why,
in the
why,
three
why,
games they
why
lost,
Oklahoma.
Okay.
Enough
even
said.
in the 3 games they lost, he won. They played Kansas State. Mm-hmm. He threw 5 touchdowns and 1 interception.
Well, you know what? He needed to throw 6
Well,
touchdowns, and he
come
didn't
on.
do it.
I mean, you want him
How
to
many-
do everything. There has to be other players out there.
How many
he needs help.
interceptions did
Hey,
Andrew
it's
Luck
some
throw
help.
against Oregon?
You can't go on one game either. Now.
I know, but that was that's your big game. When your big game is, that's when the big players step up. If you're the Heisman, you need to step up in your big game. Had Stanford beaten Oregon, we'd be talking about a different BCS championship right now.
Welcome back to the Des Clark and Alex Brown Show, live from the Tilted Kilt in Vernon Hills, 447 Milwaukee Avenue. Hey, we appreciate y'all coming out. We got Casey Johnson on the line. Before we get to Casey Johnson, can we give something away, Mr. Steele?
Oh, yes. Here's a trivia question for you.
Another trivia question.
Another Bears trivia question in the house. We're going to give away a $25 gift pack to Tilted Kilt. $25 Tilted Kilt. Here's a trivia question. It's a
Help
very
pay for
unique
that
trivia
meal.
question. Very, very unique.
Very unique, huh?
Oh, very, very unique.
The great Bears team, Super Bowl 20 team, during a game, the defense intercepted a pass. They were returning the pass down the field and lateraled it. The other team intercepted the lateral and returned that for a touchdown. My question, who was the team?
It was not the New England Patriots, no.
This guy over here.
Who do we got?
Oh, he wasn't ready.
I don't know who you're pointing to, Des.
No, right
Right here, right here.
No, not the Miami Dolphins. And we haven't went back. No, that was his guess. That was his guess, right?
Right here, right over
Again,
here.
in this game,
Detroit.
it was not Detroit. The famous Bears defense intercepted a pass during the run back. They lateraled the ball, and it was returned for a touchdown. Unfortunately, it was not the Steelers.
Okay, if we keep guessing, we'll finally
I'm going to
get
give
the
you a
right
hint.
answer.
I'm going to give you a hint. Miami Dolphins were close. I'm not giving it to you. You didn't raise your hand. And it's not you. Maybe it was or wasn't. We're going to go there. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got to
Tampa Bay
raise your
Buccaneers.
hand. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You got to raise your hand. His hand was up first.
Come up and grab it. Come up and grab it. Got a $25 gift certificate.
Yeah, here we go. He's
for-
gonna
what's
come
your
on
name?
up.
Thanks,
Hey,
Dave.
congratulations.
Hey,
There you
appreciate
go.
it, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for coming out to the
Indeed
Des
it was
Clark
in
and Alex Brown Show.
1985.
Hey, let's jump back. Let's jump right back to the show. We got
Let's
Casey
go.
Johnson on the line.
Casey
Hey, it's a lot of things going around the NBA nation right now. One in particular, with the trade by the New Orleans Hornets and the LA Lakers. Can you let us know what's going on with that? Because that's breaking news right now.
Yeah, it is. It's actually unfolding as we speak, guys, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, we all thought this was a pretty nutty first day of free agency, which actually can't even be official until tomorrow when they can sign deals. But the league apparently is killing the Chris Paul three-way deal between the Hornets, Rockets, and Lakers. Now, the underlying story in this situation, obviously, is that the Hornets went bankrupt last year, so the league took over the financial operations of that team. Now, they have independent management. They have a GM named Del Demps, who's actually considered pretty a sharp GM. And he actually, from my perspective, made a fantastic trade, the proposed trade, given that Chris Paul had told them that he was not going to be resigning at the end of the season. But as we're speaking, it is appearing that the league's going to be killing that deal, and I have no idea what the fallout's going to be, but it's going to be crazy.
If that deal goes down, I mean, that makes the Lakers a tough beat right there. I mean, they get to keep Paul Gasol. They have Kobe and then Chris Paul. Now they give up Bynum and Odom, but I mean it's not a horrible trade, but I think it's a great trade for the Lakers.
Well, the league is all about star power, as you guys know. Actually, the deal did get amended to put Gasol in it. Bynum was going to stay, so it was going to be Gasol and Odom going out.
Okay.
But either way, if the trade had gone down, I mean, the league's a star power league, and when you got Chris Paul and Kobe on the same team, that's obviously a very, very good start. There's some people, though, that thought, they gave up two big, versatile defenders in Odom and Powell. And as we know, size and defense typically wins in the playoffs in this league. So, again, I think if you look at the Wolves on the trade on paper, it actually was not a bad deal from the Hornets' perspective, given that they knew they were going to be losing Chris Paul for nothing at the end of the season.
Right.
However, as we're talking about, like I said, it looks like it's going to be killed by the league.
Wow. Yeah, and let's switch over to our Bulls, Casey. The Bulls, I really felt, and we talked about this last week, man, Alex, I felt like the Bulls were a talented team, but yet an overachieving team. Do you think the Bulls could match that 62-win plateau this year?
It's going to be tough, Des, and I agree with you.
Well, I know with 66 games,
He's not
they
going
probably
to make
won't be
it
able
when
to
there's
do
only
it.
66 games.
Yeah, they have to go 62-4, so that level would be hard. No, I'm just joking. But I do agree with you, the assessment that they probably overachieved a little bit. The clear thing, and it's being underscored even more today by all the crazy free agent movement, is the other teams are trying to improve themselves, and the Bulls, at least thus far, have kind of stood pat, and they definitely need to add more athleticism and scoring. I mean, they're obviously one of the best defensive teams in the league, but as we saw in the playoffs, Derrick Rose didn't have a lot of help down the stretch, and even he got worn down by the end of that Heat series. So, it was a very, very great season, obviously, but I do feel like they overachieved a little bit, and they need not only a little bit more outside shooting, but a little bit more athleticism. They need somebody else who can take somebody off the dribble other than Derrick Rose, because as solid of a player as Luol Deng is, he's more of a system guy that relies on the system. He's not really a creator, and so they definitely need somebody else who can kind of create his own shot off the dribble.
Well, I saw that Butler was off the table now. I mean, I thought he could come in and help out. I saw that Portland, they kept who's the point guard for Portland?
Greg Oden.
Yeah, Greg Oden and the
Brandon
guard.
Roy.
Brandon Roy, I thought could really help. Granted his knees and stuff hold up, but who is that guy that can help? I mean, Jamal Crawford's out there. I mean, can he help? Will he be that guy? I mean, will he play enough defense?
But would
to
Crawford
come
come to Chicago for a mid-level exemption?
I don't know, and that's a good question for you, Casey. Would he come? You think?
I think Jamal eventually probably. I've known Jamal a long time. I covered him obviously as a rookie here with the Bulls, and he typically is someone who kind of goes for the largest paycheck. So I'm going to guess that one of these teams with salary cap space will probably outbid the Bulls for him. The Bulls were never that high on Caron Butler. I know they had him in earlier this week for a free agent visit, but. He went to the Clippers today, and I don't think they were completely sold on him because he's actually more of a small forward than a shooting guard. They're still in conversations with Jason Richardson. They're still in conversations with Grant Hill, who I know is 39, but is still a very elite defender on the perimeter, and obviously just a consummate professional. He would probably be on obviously a short-term deal, like a one-year deal. And then there's also a chance that Vince Carter might get bought out by the Phoenix Suns, and he would be another possibility that would intrigue them. Again, his best days are behind him. However, he still has the ability to heat up at times and take over games offensively. So those are some of the options that they're still looking at.
You really think Richardson would come here? I mean, what did he make, $15 million last year?
He did, but I'm telling you, I know it doesn't happen often. You guys know as well as anybody, although obviously not as much guaranteed money in the NFL as there is in the NBA, but
right.
he's made a ton of money in his career, and from those people close to him that I've spoken to, he really just wants a chance to win a championship. Orlando still might re-sign him. That's obviously a very good Eastern Conference team. The Bulls probably are a little bit closer to a title, so you're still looking at 4 years, $21 million guaranteed, so for the full mid-level exception. So, I mean, I don't know the answer to it, but I know that he's considering it.
Well, I definitely hope he comes. I mean, I don't.
Well, you spoke about that Orlando team, and the most intriguing piece of that Orlando team is Dwight Howard. And there were some rumors floating around about Chicago possibly going after Dwight Howard. Is there anything to that, or is this just a bunch of people talking nonsense?
Oh, that never happens right there. But here's my take on that is that as of now, Orlando is not shopping Dwight Howard because unlike the Chris Paul situation, Dwight Howard has not flat out said to Orlando management, I'm not coming back. I think that it might come to that point, and if it does come to that point, the Bulls surely would make a phone call and inquire and try to get into those sweepstakes. But talk about them, not pulling the trigger or being too scared to trade from is way, way overstated. I mean, like I said, Orlando hasn't even started shopping this guy yet, so that's going to be a storyline to watch as the season unfolds.
We're on with Casey Johnson of the Chicago Tribune. Really appreciate Casey coming on and talking NBA and Bulls basketball with us. Casey, one last question before we let you go. If there was anybody that you could pick. I mean, I know Vegas is picking Miami. They're giving them 2-1. Vegas never gives anybody 2-1 because that's too much. I mean, I think they expect them to win. If there was one person, and I have my person that I think it is, but there's one person that would go to Miami and then they would be nearly unbeatable. Who would that person be? I think if Dallas loses Chandler and he goes to Miami, I think it cements everything. It's over. I mean, I don't think it was a failure last year that they made it to the championship game.
Failure.
I don't think it was a failure. I think if you put a team together and you make it to the championship game, wait till we see what they do this year. I think they'll win 60 games, and I know that they only have 66.
66.
There's 66
I'm
games.
telling you, I think they're so good.
But the question is,
what player can go there?
Go to Miami?
What's the missing piece? Yeah, what's the missing piece for them?
It shouldn't be a missing piece.
Well, they just signed Shane Battier today.
I'll let Casey answer it.
What's the missing piece to Miami?
Well, actually, I think even though it does look like Tyson Chandler is going to be going to the Knicks, that is
I know.
That's dead on what they need. They need a big man who can defend and who can run the floor. I mean, that's been their big weakness is their big man. Last year, Zydrunas Exalkis didn't really do it for him. Joel Anthony didn't really do it for him. So they needed an athletic big. Yeah, they needed an athletic big man, but I don't think they're going to get Tyson Chandler. They did add Shane Battier today, which I think will help them.
They did.
But, I still think they're going to be in there. I mean, obviously, when you got two guys like LeBron and D-Wade and then a third piece like Bosh, you're going to be good for a very, very long time.
I think so, too. I honestly, I hope the Bulls win it, and I would love it because I'm getting season tickets this year, too. So, but I'm not so sure. Miami scares me. They really do, man. They're crazy good. So, but I wish the best to the Bulls, and thank you so much, Casey, for coming on with us.
Casey,
we really
the Chicago
enjoy it.
Tribune. Appreciate it, Casey.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Anytime, all right?
Thanks, man. We appreciate it. Casey Johnson for the Bulls. All right.
And he is the authority for the Chicago Bulls.
Without a
Yeah,
doubt,
he's
the
the
most
guy.
knowledgeable
If you want to know
man.
Bulls, he's the guy. So
And he's
really appreciate
a
him
writer
coming
for
on.
the Chicago Tribune, so check out his columns every day.
Yeah,
Every
I
day.
actually
He writes every day.
wanted to jump in there. As far as he mentioned a few names like Richardson,
Yeah.
but there's this new thing that they got in the CBA and the NBA called amnesty this year only. One team, I believe, has used it so far.
Yeah.
San Antonio Spurs used it on the man who was 5th in the league in three-point shooting last year. 5th. Isn't that what the Bulls need? To stretch the floor, they brought in Corver, didn't it? Richard Jefferson.
Yes.
But Richard Jefferson
He's
is
a 3.
What is he? 39? How old is he?
Oh, he's not 39.
No,
but
Richard
he's
Jefferson
up
is not that old.
Well, he is. He is.
He is not that old.
Come on. I know
He's up
not
there, but he's not
39, but he's
39.
up there.
He's-
All I'm
what-
saying is
how
he's
old
up
you
there.
think he is?
I think he's 33.
Yeah, I was gonna say 31.
Yeah, I think he's
32.
33.
Oh no, he's older than that. He's ancient. He's like what, 34?
Get out of here.
You try to be funny.
Yeah.
Well, we know that you're older than that.
Oh,
so.
I'm the grandpa at this table.
Yeah, I'm the
I
youngest
admit
one
it.
up here. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Look, the basketball season this year is going to be a pretty good season because I believe because of that condensed schedule. Now, I admitted last week, over the last couple of years, basketball has kind of waned on me a little bit, but I'm really looking forward to it this
I am too.
season. I don't know what reason, what brought me back. I had the opposite effect of what a lockout's supposed to have for a fan.
Yeah.
I'm actually anticipating it now. So if I'm in Vegas and I got to put money down on somebody to win the championship, I'm going to bet definitely Miami Heat. And we had this discussion, and you just tell me, we had this discussion last week. Was the Miami Heat a disappointment last year because they didn't win the championship?
Yes, and the only reason I would say yes is because of the flamboyance they began the season
the
with.
Same exact
You
thing I
had
said.
a ceremony to launch your big three. You didn't have that ceremony in Boston when they had it. This was, you had the decision on ESPN, and then they had that little ceremony where the three of them were on stage, and then they could never figure out how to play together until it was too late. And even then, you got beat by Tyson Chandler and Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk is a great player. Dirk is a great
beat
player.
the Lakers too. They didn't just beat Mike. They beat the Lakers too.
Oh,
and Kobe.
yeah, I know, but
and Bynum and
Kobe
and Paul
didn't
Gasol.
have an announcement show.
So what? Boston didn't have an announcement show because
Kobe didn't
those
take
three
his
guys they got
talents
was
to
over the
LA.
hill anyway. At least everybody thought.
They got on stage and said, we're not going to win not one,
Right.
not two,
Right.
not three.
But
Yeah.
they didn't say that we're going to win next year. We're not.
Actually,
they say
I
we're gonna
believe
win
they
this year.
did.
They didn't say that.
But when you put a
Let's say they
group
do
of
win
talent-
three. Let's say if they win three, then are you going to come up here and say, well, you know what?
I'm going
They
to
didn't
say in
win
the
four.
2010 season, 2010-2011 season, that they were a disappointment.
I don't think they're a disappointment. They beat the Bulls. You say they overachieved.
They had a disappointing regular
They
season.
represented. They went to the NBA Finals. They lost to the hottest team, maybe not necessarily the most athletic team in the NBA, but they lost to the hottest team, the team that was playing the best in the league, in the Dallas Mavericks.
I think they had a disappointing regular season, and they had a
They
disappointing.
had spurts where they were disappointing in the regular season.
Wow.
Well, when you look at this team, you expect them to be where the Bulls were.
You really expected that team? You really expected that team
Yes.
to challenge
everything that you're about to say. Yes.
to challenge the 72-10
For
season?
the Spanish-speaking
No
people,
way.
C.
How do you had Jordan and Pippen on that
You are
team,
smoking
and they
crack.
played together for 10 years, and you
You are
expect them to do that?
And you expect them to go 60-6 this year?
I was stretching it right there, but
No. Don't back down from it now.
I think they'll win it.
60-6.
I
You
think
are smoking
next
crack
year,
if you
I
think any team will ever come to 72-10.
I thought they
team will.
could challenge
This
it.
I do
team will.
not believe
I
the
thought they
Miami
could
Heat.
challenge
They
it.
will too.
Oh, wait,
They will.
there's only one way that the Miami Heat will ever go
Okay, so
72-10.
there is a way, though.
Yes.
Okay.
They have to sign Tim Tebow.
Yes. And we got a question about Tim Tebow, but it has to do with baseball. And this is the perfect segue to start talking a little baseball.
Oh, we want to talk some baseball. Miami spending a little money both in basketball and
they
baseball.
They offered money. They
we
spent
had-
a little money. They were offered.
Tom-
No, they spent a ton.
They spent 100.
110 on Jose Reyes,
Yeah.
58 on Mark Burley.
Yeah.
You know, that's for a Miami team that only had a $30 million payroll last year. That's a lot of money.
Well, it's not a lot of money because they just got like average now. Now they
No,
never
they're
gave
just
away any
average.
money. They never gave away any money. Now they give away a little bit. Okay, the owner
little
still
bit.
has a ton of money. No, they've gone from they've won 2 World Series
Right.
since '97.
96.
And each
I'm
year
sorry.
they bought
I'm
it.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
let's
sorry,
talk
Cubs. I'm sorry.
2003. Yeah, we'll talk about it. We'll go down in history.
So and they didn't pay anybody anything out of the last 10, 12 years. Nothing. Now they give away $1 million, $100 million.
$196 million
on 3 players.
196 million
On
and
3
if you want
players.
to talk about a team that's
we got a
gave away
question.
money,
We got a question from
the Angels gave away
one of our viewers that said Tom Amansky actually said, Des, were you surprised that the Miami Marlins didn't sign Tim Tebow
Oh,
to
really?
a 4-year, $40 million contract?
That's
Yes.
funny. I just mentioned
No.
that.
I mean,
I was not
it's working for the Denver Broncos. Did you read the article in the paper today? I think it was the Sun-Times.
David?
when they were talking about the Tim Tebow effect.
The David Hall article?
No, not the David Hall.
That was a good article.
That was a very
That
good
was an
article.
excellent write.
And we
Great
could
job,
definitely
David.
talk about
Yeah.
that. That's a good conversation. But they were saying, like, the team, Detroit, that beat Denver, what happened to them after they beat Denver? They started going downhill.
They started getting immature. They didn't start going downhill. Their immaturity
I can't
shone
remember
through.
the defensive back that picked off Tim Tebow. Guess what? Since then, he only had 4 tackles in like 6 games.
I mean, you want to talk about Tebow? I mean, he fined by.
Are we really?
Are we
really-
gonna talk about?
you
Let's go
talk-
back to the
no,
4-year,
no,
$40
you
million.
talk- okay,
Can we
okay,
go back
let's-
to the money being spent?
Okay, now Tim Tebow is about
Are
to
we
play.
gonna talk Tim
Tim
Tebow?
Tebow is about to play a team now that has lost their star quarterback, and while he's Tebow over there, I'm gonna keep saying this: star quarterback and star running back. Before he played Kansas City, guess what? They lost Matt Castle,
Uh-huh.
and everything has been lining up for this guy to go on this 6-1 run.
The Bears didn't lose Brian Urlacher and Lance Briggs.
They
so
did not.
That's who he need to worry about. Losing Cutler is not going to have anything to do with him getting tattooed trying to run a doggone quarterback dive. I don't see it. With the linebackers that the Bears have, I don't see him being able to run the ball. Now, he proved last week he didn't have to run it to win because he only ran the ball 4 times. He threw for over 200 yards, but I don't know. He's won 5 games in a row, and I still don't believe it.
Let's get off Tim Tebow, the player,
We'll come
for a
back
little
to
bit.
Tim Tebow a little bit.
And let's talk about Tim Tebow, the man, the polarizing figure that he is. And I think I talked about this before. I don't have a problem with Tim Tebow expression of his religious faith. No, it's just like anybody else celebrating. He's just doing it in a different way. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, if you don't like it, turn the TV.
Yes and no. When you sign a contract, you're signing knowing that this is what you're going to be. You're now in the limelight, and he knows he's in the limelight. Do you really need to say it every single time? Even Kurt Warner, who's devout Christian himself, is saying, "Hey, maybe tone it down and just you can be religious within. You don't have to be religious out." And I think there's a little of that. I think it's great. I think Tim Tebow is a great role model. I think Tim Tebow is a phenomenal athlete, and I think it's great that he provides a positive role model. I think we need that in the NFL. I think we need it in all sports for somebody to point to.
And you're asking him to change.
I'm not asking him to change. I'm just asking
exactly
him to tone it down a little bit because can he provide a role model to every faith at the same time?
I think he should be him. He should just be himself. That's what he should do what he does. And it doesn't matter. I mean, if you don't like it, yeah, I think Desmond is right. Turn the TV. I mean, the guy, he's always been like this. He did this in high school.
What is he doing that is wrong? That's what I want to know.
No.
I don't believe he's doing anything wrong. I just believe so many people we're a little off. A lot of people are off put by that, and maybe they're a little jealous of his success.
Well, what about the people that's off put by a guy faking like he's shooting himself in the leg? He gets a spot the next week on ESPN pregame show because of the celebrations he's having. Mm-hmm. But Tebow is getting ridiculed by a section of people, not by everybody. Mm-hmm. It's probably more people that love him for it than hate him for it, for what he's doing.
Well, understood. But everybody knows you go to family parties, there's 2 topics you don't bring up. Politics and religion, right?
Right.
You just don't talk about them. Well,
this is not a party. This is not a family party.
It's a family party for just about everybody else in the country that sits down in front of their TV to watch this games as family. It's part of the $9 billion juggernaut the NFL is.
I understand
I think
that.
It's absolutely
so what
pathetic.
is he doing that is not family?
You know what? I can't stand it. Tebow is a great dude. He's defined everything and everybody in the league that says that a quarterback like this can't succeed. And people are nitpicking, trying to find something. Because if you look at the guy, you honestly cannot find anything wrong with the guy.
I nitpick about this. He's not a good quarterback.
But
he's not.
But he's winning.
He's a winner.
So it doesn't matter. If he was losing, he'd be out of there. He's not. He hasn't lost. I mean, he's lost one. But when he loses, people they're gonna dissect that game. People can't wait till he loses. But he's not. So he is the
he
topic.
will this weekend.
He is the topic of every single TV station, ESPN. Yeah. He is on. He had a special today.
NFL Network, ESPN, everybody.
The great David Hall did a great story on him today.
It was a great article by David Hall.
It is unbelievable, like the amount of attention he's getting. But it's for being him. That's why he's getting the attention.
Right.
And you're asking him to change, and I don't think that's right. I don't think he should change anything.
And we appreciate the attention that we're getting here at the Des Clark and Alex Brown Show. We're going to take a 5-minute break. We're going to come back with a couple more giveaways.
Yes, we will.
We're here at the Tilted Kilt in Vernon Hills at 447 Milwaukee Avenue. If you want to call in, we got one more segment to go. You call in at 773-382-8732. We'll be right back in 5 minutes. Welcome back to the Des Clark Alex Brown Show here live at the Tilted Kilt, 447 Milwaukee Avenue in Vernon Hills. Hey, if you can't make it this week, we'll be right back here next week, next Thursday, 7 to 9, same times. Me and Alex and Ryan will be here from 6 o'clock until
Ryan,
about.
who's Ryan? I thought I was the nondescript white guy.
Well, I want to give you some kind of.
We'll also have a special guest too.
yes, we will.
1985 Bears great.
Otis Wilson.
Otis Wilson will be with us next week.
Big O.
Yeah, the big O.
We'll be there an hour before, an hour after signing autographs. So come on out and enjoy yourself.
Awesome. Here at the Tilted Kilt. We're going to give away some another prize pack, another Tilted Kilt prize pack. So everybody in the house, listen up. Here's your trivia question. 2003, since you brought up the Marlins winning the World Series, we're going to do baseball. 2003, obviously the Marlins spent a lot of money. They won the World Series that year after beating the Cubs in a very unique Game 6 at Wrigley Field.
Bartman.
8th inning, Steve Bartman interferes with Moises' ability to make a catch.
Yep, everybody remembers that.
Everybody remembers that. Here's what, do you or do you not remember who hit the foul ball?
Ooh.
What member of the Florida Marlins was actually the batter on the Bartman incident? Raise your hand, please. And it's not Miguel Cabrera. Sorry. Anybody else? I do not see. I can't hear you.
Juan Pierre.
Juan Pierre, negative. It was not. Sorry, what was it? Luis Castillo is correct. Luis Castillo, the second baseman
My guy.
for the Florida Marlins. Come on up and get your prize pack.
Miami Marlins. It's
The Miami. Now it's the Miami Marlins, but at the time they were the
yes.
Florida Marlins. Congratulations. What's your name, sir? John, congratulations. Well, you don't
you
need
go.
to sit down, but here's your prize pack.
Yeah.
Make yourself at home, John. Shake some hands. Congratulations. Once again, we're giving away prizes every week. Come on out to the Tilted Kilt. Again, next Thursday, 7 to 9 here at the Tilted Kilt in Vernon Hills.
Vernon Hills. Hey, before we wrap up this show today, we cannot go without talking about the White Sox and the rebuilding year that you guys are having. And I say you
Kenny
guys
Williams.
because everybody know that you are a Sox fan.
Absolutely.
And Ryan's a Cub fan. And that's why you two don't
Cub
really
fan.
that's why you don't get along. What's going on with your team?
We're in rebuilding mode, just like
We're in
Mr.
rebuilding
Williams said. Yes, we are. We won more games than you guys last year. We let our best pitcher go. We didn't want to pay
That's
him.
your closer
He went down he went down to the Marlins with our former coach Ozzie. So I mean, it's just it is definitely rebuilding mode. We just traded a very, very good pitcher for a good young prospect. But we are in rebuilding mode.
You
That's
guys are in
what it
rebuilding
means.
mode, but the Cubs.
You've been in rebuilding mode for 100 years.
The Cubs just, as part of the Pujols deal, what people didn't realize is we offered him 6 years, $30 million a year. We offered him more money, just he wanted the long-term contract. So the Cubs not rebuilding. I'm trying to figure out what the White Sox, Sox are doing.
You are rebuilding. Why wouldn't you guys be rebuilding? You guys won more games
like
than
three teams.
3 teams in the league.
Well, yeah.
And, come on, you are in rebuilding mode every year.
Honestly, we're in rebuilding mode every year for the last 103 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
My question is, will Kenny Williams be around
I think he will.
I hope not.
to see this team when it's built again?
Well,
no.
If you're thinking that it's going to be the next 2 or 3 years, I think it will be. I think we'll win as many games this year as we did last year. Yeah.
What? That's not saying a lot. You guys.
It's not saying a lot, but it is saying a lot when you lose your
best pitcher.
first year coach. You lose your pitcher. You lose your closer. We're losing a lot. And if we can
it's
still
more.
come
It's
out,
more to come.
If we can still be competitive, I think he stays for the next year.
Oh,
Then,
you are talking just like a Cubs fan.
What are you talking about?
Wait till next year.
Well, it's rebuilding mode.
You're competitive.
When you're rebuilding,
you just want to be competitive.
Well,
now?
I mean,
that's good enough.
Kenny Williams
it's not good enough. But I believe before the Cubs start, I think we've won a World Series this century.
That is true.
You did in 2005.
Did we win one last century?
You won one like 1909 and 1918.
Okay, so that's last century. Okay, so have you guys have not won one this century, and it's been about 110 years. So
110, 1908. Don't give me 110, 103.
Well, it's been a long time.
Give me 7 years on that.
For a GM to come out and say
we're rebuilding.
That takes a lot of guts.
It's a lot of guts, but let's just say the reason they need to is because of Kenny Williams. The White Sox have one of the worst.
They also won the World Series because of Kenny Williams.
White Sox have one of the worst
They
rated
did.
farm systems. I hate to say this, 6 years. 6 years. ago.
Oh God, I totally agree because Molina, I believe the pitcher that they just traded for, he's their number 2 guy now immediately.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah,
The farm
system
is
isn't the best, but
Which
I think it's going to get better.
Which is why they can't go out and make any moves because they
don't
have
want
nobody
to.
to give up.
They don't want to.
Nobody wants any of their players anyway.
But at least we can actually bring players in, and we can
Show 'em a World Series
we can help
ring.
them. No, we can help them grow into great players. That's what we can do, and that's what we're going to do. So give me 2013.
I see both of these
2013.
All right,
organizations
I have a
being
question.
at, now this you're both at the starting line right now. This season when they pop the gun, how long is it going to take the Cubs to become a challenger? How long is it going to take the White Sox to become a challenger?
2 years.
A regular challenger, a consistent challenger. I would
Consistent.
love for once to see some consistency out of either Chicago
Because
team.
right now, both of these organizations are trying to start from the bottom up again.
Without a doubt. My question is, who gets there first?
Gets where? We're going to win the World Series here within the next 3 years. You aren't. You're not going to. So, but we know that. So where are we trying to get to again? If the finish line is the World Series, we know that you should pick another team because they're not going to win it. We know that.
Oh, fine. You know what we'll do? We're going to hire Urban Meyer to coach the Cubs. How's that?
You know what? Hey, he might
Urban
do a
Meyer
better
is
job.
now going to come to coach.
Hey, he might do all right.
I honestly believe in 2 years you'll see the Cubs make a run in the playoffs, and I think they'll be in the race every year. Let's look at the Cubs division. All right, let's look at it. The 2 largest free agents this year are in what division?
Are in
And the likelihood,
Cubs
and
division.
one's already gone. One's already in the American League in Pujols, right? Prince Fielder's the next on deck, and the likelihood he goes back to Milwaukee is.
You guys need a
not
first
very
baseman.
good.
Oh, we need a lot more than just a first
Well, I
baseman,
mean,
but we
you
are
gotta start
active.
somewhere.
We are active in the Fielder sweepstakes because Dale Swaim, our head coach, was up there. He was with Milwaukee, and Prince and he have a great relationship. So there's a possibility
It's
there's
not
a play
going to
for it.
happen.
Offer
That's
that
going-
6 year.
that's
Offer
going
that 6 year
against-
25 to Cecil Fielder.
That's going
Prince-
against.
Prince
That's going
Fielder, I'm
against
sorry.
what Theo
Cecil's
was-
kid.
Yeah, yeah.
That's going against everything that Theo
I meant
Epstein
Prince.
said he
I
was
meant
trying
Prince.
to
I'm
do.
sorry.
I'm sorry, Des.
That's going against everything that Theo Epstein said that he was
Except for
going
he,
to
no,
do.
it's not. He's young. They can build around him, and that's what Theo wants to do. We don't want to have bad contracts. Soriano, not a good contract because it was massively backloaded. You don't backload contracts when players are reaching the end of their usefulness or their peaks. And that's
So
what
he
we
has
have.
been useful since he's been with the Cubs.
Soriano?
Yeah.
He's been useful for every other team in the major leagues.
Oh my God, I think the Cubs kill people. They kill people. The guy was a 40-40 guy before he got here.
He was a 40-40 guy before he got here, but then teams
Now all of a sudden he sucks? No,
he didn't
he's
have
not.
protection in the order here in Wrigley like he had at Yankee Stadium. All right, and that's the thing.
And as a
Soriano feasts on
Washington
bad
National
pitching.
also.
Yeah, and Washington.
Soriano feasts on bad pitching. Look at his batting average against the number 1 and number 2 starters of opposing teams, and it goes below the Mendoza line. No.
Everybody is going to have a
There's not a massive difference like Soriano is. Soriano disappears in key games. Even with the Yankees, he disappeared in key games.
Pujols disappeared in the World Series. In the
Yeah, he
playoffs.
did. That he did this year. I will give him
He
that.
disappeared. They
But-
still gave him $260 million.
Unbelievable,
Jeez.
the Angels. And
I
then
wish,
the Angels
I wish
went
I
out.
could hit a baseball.
Come
And then the
on.
Angels went out and signed C.J. Wilson, who is a decent left-handed pitcher. But if he was a free agent last year, he wouldn't even. I mean, he wouldn't be up there.
He's decent. He was, what was he, 16-7 last year?
Was
Decent?
he in the? How did he finish in the Cy Young voting?
I thought he was pretty, I mean, that's,
How did he finish in the Cy Young voting?
okay, it didn't matter because we knew who was going to win that.
5 years, $75 million for C.J. Wilson's $15 million a year.
We had a pitcher win MVP.
Yes, Verlander.
I mean, so who was going to win that? We know who's going to win. I mean,
I understand, but where did he finish?
What was he? I don't know where he finished.
And there's your answer right there.
Okay, you don't think he makes?
I don't think he's a dominant. I don't think he
bet you
takes over games.
He put
Takes over games.
those two.
I don't
people.
think you can put him on
He's
the mound
not a
and go,
freaking
he's gonna
quarterback.
get a W every time.
Who does? Verlander?
Verlander's one of those guys. Halliday is one of those guys. He goes to the mound.
You have a great chance of winning.
If
yes.
I'm betting on that game, I'm betting
But-
Verlander and Halliday.
But for the Rangers in that division with the Angels or Anaheim, yeah. they got a lot better and a lot closer to the Rangers with Pujols.
Do you
CJ
really
Wilson.
think that the Anaheim Angels went after C.J. Wilson because he's going to be such a compliment to their staff, or because their division opponent just lost C.J. Wilson?
No, they're not just
Their
paying
division
him.
opponent lost him.
Hey, the Red Sox and Yankees would do that all the time.
Yeah, that's the Red Sox and Yankees, though.
Well,
I think Anaheim wants to win.
I think Anaheim wants to win, and I applaud their moves.
And I think they did a good job of getting closer to the Rangers.
With that being said, Pujols is out there. So Pujols, Fielder, both gone, out of the NL, for the Cubs division. Who's left?
Cubs going to make a run next year? Is that
What I'm
you're
saying
trying
is,
to say?
I'm not saying they're going to make a run next year, but their odds of doing it and their ability to have a good record this year went up with those signings elsewhere.
Did you really just refer to odds right there? Are you an Epstein? He is believing it.
Sabermetrics,
He's
baby.
Epstein.
Bring
He
me
is
some
believing it. He is believing
sabermetrics.
it. Oh my
Billy
gosh.
Bean in the house.
He's an odd guy. He's an
Where's
odd
Billy Bean?
guy.
I'm Moneyball.
Jeez.
Give me some Moneyball. Because you know what my Moneyball is?
What?
Show me the money.
What's the odds that, talking about another Chicago team here, that your Chicago Blackhawks makes another run at the Stanley Cup this year?
That's tough. That's tough. What do you think? I think they want to replace a lot of players. I mean, I've heard talks about replacing Kane. I've heard that. I've heard talks about just now replacing the goaltender.
Well, definitely, we're having goalie issues in the with the Blackhawks.
I mean, if
right
you
now.
don't have any, like
But
they got.
We're not going to replace Kane. We signed Kane, Taves, and Duncan Keith to long-term contracts.
Benson him. I apologize. I heard-
They started Kane at center this year, and really threw and he did well initially, but then he slipped down.
Yeah.
Now we moved him back to his natural wing position. We need a little more center play behind Taves. After you get after Taves, we're losing faceoffs a lot in the power play, and that's critical to have puck possession. Without Taves, when you take Taves away, our playoff win percentage drops in the Blackhawks. But right now, Emery started in net tonight in the victory, the overtime victory tonight over Crawford. We really need to get some solid play. If we get some goaltending, I think we're gonna be fine. We're still at tops. We're still up there.
Right.
We're still in playoff. We're still a really solid team. There's no need to rock the boat. We just need a key piece here and there. I even go back to the Stanley Cup season. I mean, we didn't start the season with that goaltender.
That's
Right.
correct.
And also, I think that benefited us because he was actually healthier because he didn't have the beatdown of playing the entire season.
Can the Blackhawks beat the twin brothers? Are they twins?
The Sedin twins?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are twins. The Sedin twins out in Vancouver.
Can they beat them? Can
I don't
this
think it has
Blackhawks
anything to
team
do with
beat
the
'em?
Sedin twins. I think it has to do with Roberto Luongo in goal.
Okay, can they beat that team?
Can they beat Vancouver? I believe yes. We need a little grit to do it. We need to find some grit because Vancouver will bang you around
beat
and
you
knock
up.
you off the game. And we need some grit. And we need one or two key saves from our goalie that says, okay, he's got us. Let's press. And right now, our defense is struggling a little because we're not sure that we have that backstop in place.
Right, and you got a guy like Dave Bolin who's been struggling with injuries.
Very.
So, I mean, get him back healthy, then you strengthen your defense a little bit.
Yes.
But the news that came out, was it beginning of this week, last week, about the conference realignment? How is that going to affect things in the NHL?
Oh, this new conference alignment is, I'm getting a kind of weird look from Alex. I don't know. Right now, there are 6 divisions and 2 conferences.
Right.
Now they're going to
Just
go
like
to
the-
4. They're going to go to 4, and they're more geographically lined. And all this started because Atlanta moved to Winnipeg. They went from the Thrashers back to the Winnipeg Jets. And now you're going to have 4 divisions. Right now they have them named 1, 2, 3, and 4. They haven't come up with names yet.
It'll be East, West, Midwest, South.
I'd like to see them go back to the originals. The Norris division. I would love to see that come back. Personally, I could think of like John Paul, George and Ringo might be good names.
Yeah.
Legends
but-
and leaders.
Somebody's enjoying that.
Somebody enjoyed that one. You know what? I actually have a better name for the divisions. Jerry, Elaine,
No.
George, and Kramer. But seriously,
Seinfeld.
Oh, okay.
I just named
You don't
Seinfeld.
watch Seinfeld?
No, I don't. I didn't know what he was
Seriously,
talking
what I
about.
love about
I
this
had no
rescheduling
idea what
and
he was talking
regrouping is
about.
it's by
And I'm mad that neither one of you guys watched this show right here.
Dunder Mifflin Incorporated Paper Company. Dunder
Yes.
Mifflin. We got The Office
It does
in the house.
Office.
The Office,
Everybody in here knows when you see Dunder Mifflin, you're talking
Dunder
about The
Mifflin.
Office,
Anybody
right?
know what Dunder
I had no
Mifflin is?
clue.
Dunder Mifflin Paper Company.
Yeah.
The Office. There we
But
go.
I will start watching.
Anybody here know about Dunder Mifflin paper? That's what I'm talking. These two guys up here, I brought it up to him thinking I'm gonna get a chuckle. I didn't get any chuckle.
Dunder Mifflin now owes us money for that sponsorship. Just
No,
want to let you know.
our motto is quality first. And
Are you just actually reading this? Are you actually
Yeah,
reading this?
because-
All right, while you're
because
reading that, I'm going to talk about the
my people
new
out here,
alignment
they
of
like
the NHL. Can we talk NHL?
Listen, we're talking about one of the greatest shows on TV. If y'all want this paper, actually, y'all can get it from the Quill Company. All right,
Company?
So Quill, you know what? Y'all owe us some sponsorship money right now.
Yeah, they owe some sponsor money, but the
Quill.com.
NHL's new division alignment, I think there's going to be a little more traveling for some of the teams, but mainly the East teams. But I think it'll be a lot better for the West Coast teams because everything's all aligned in the West for them. We have the Central teams, and then there's two conferences out along the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I also like that every team gets to play every other team home and home.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to play everybody, which means all the original six get to play. And that when you're a hockey guy or a hockey woman, whatever, if you're a hockey
You
fan,
want to have
the
those
original
teams.
six, without a doubt. I mean, the top valuable franchises in hockey, the original six.
Right, and
Even
right
with
now,
Bill Wirtz trying to ruin the Chicago Blackhawks for as long as he did.
But
Why do
right
you
now,
think that?
right now, the way it's set up, the original six don't get to go into each and every stadium during the year. Because I know in basketball, those guys play everybody at least once
Right.
on the road.
And it's really great that they've done this realignment. I think it's going to bring back some of the history of hockey when we had the four divisions before we went to six. And it will retain a lot of the matchups that we have that are so great. I mean, you're going to keep Philadelphia and Pittsburgh in the same division. That was a concern. That you have like Washington and Philadelphia, all that are right there. They need to be in the same division, and they did. They did a great job realigning it. I commend them for
The
it.
commissioner that really never gets commended in the NHL.
Does any commissioner
Never.
ever really get commended?
Well, I think Paul Tagliabue did when he was commissioner.
Well, Gary
way back
Bettman
then.
deserves a lot of kudos on this one, so applaud him.
That's probably the first and last time somebody's going to say
No
that.
love for Stern? None?
David Stern for sitting down and hammering out the CBA is what you're saying?
Yes.
How about David Stern for allowing it to get to that point?
Yeah, he did
I will
allow it
commend
to get
Roger
that point.
Goodell
That's
for not
awful.
missing any games.
You know what? Roger Goodell, he made it a lot tougher in the NFL. I know that.
Yeah, he did.
He opened guys' eyes, and I think he brought a lot of light to this concussion thing by
Roger
finding
Goodell?
guys.
And that way,
I think Goodell
in that
did.
way, and you know, just like the presidency, it's not all one guy, but he was
Right.
the guy that to be in charge when all of this stuff started.
Without
coming.
a doubt.
Right.
And I think Bettman needs to learn a little something about that concussion because we're having some issues in the NHL
Yes,
with that.
right.
guys,
We had a
we are.
28-year-old, you know, he passed away. They did a study on his brain and they found, oh my gosh, you know, he had a lot of cells, you know, and he was known as a fighter. So they really need, I'm a hockey traditionalist. I grew up playing the sport. I understand the need for an enforcer, but enforcement can be done by hard hitting, not by hard punching. And until we can figure a way to curtail the blows to the head, I don't know. I still worry about some of the safety of the sport. Of course, then we're talking about boxing. I mean, where the
Well,
point is to hit
it's
somebody
a
so hard they
sport,
can't
Right.
stand up.
But I mean,
go-
the guys,
you go
they
into
know what they're
boxing.
doing.
Yes.
Like I think that you know the danger that you're getting into. If you race NASCAR, if you're in NASCAR, you know that you're going to get in a car that goes 170 miles an hour, 200 miles an
200
hour.
miles, yeah.
So you know there's a possibility that you may
So
die.
basically, when we get in your car, when we leave here,
No, when you get in my car, you know that your seatbelt's gonna go on because that sound, that beeping sound
annoying,
is very
isn't it?
annoying, isn't it? I want to just put on your seatbelt. I hate that.
I don't know what's more annoying, listening to the podcast of this show or that seatbelt dinging.
I'd rather the podcast than the
Just
show.
so you know, after the show, you can always download the shows on iTunes. Search for the Des Clark,
And
the
Alex
Des Clark
Brown.
Show audio podcast.
Yes.
The Des Clark Show audio podcast, all one word, on iTunes.
And you all listen to the Des Clark Alex Brown Show. Before we wrap up tonight, guys, we got to give our picks. We got to give our picks.
How are we doing, by the way?
Oh, you winning by 1 game.
I am winning by the original Cincinnati
I'm
Bengals
down right
game.
now. I'm down right now.
I got
Down by
okay.
more than one,
It's okay.
Alex.
I mean, I'll be
you
back.
did pick the Giants
I'll be
last
back.
week. I
Yes,
just want to
did.
point that out.
And the Giants, they held their own a lot better than a lot of people think. And I thought they did have a chance to win.
They did have a
But Aaron
chance.
Rodgers just showed up with 50 seconds to go. He drove 80 yards in like 12
Crimea
seconds.
River, you
he's
got
unbelievable.
beat.
Jordy
I did. I
Nelson.
lost.
You got beat.
But he's unbelievable.
You got beat.
He is.
Jordy Nelson, 2 words.
Real quick, guys.
Real quick,
Real quick. I'm going to ask you about the Giants and Cowboys first, and then I'm going to ask our caller who he thinks is going to win out of the Giants and Cowboys.
All right,
who do you have?
Giants, Cowboys?
Giants, Cowboys.
In the Big D?
In the Big D.
I'm going to take Dallas. We're going
You
to go
gonna take Dallas?
DeMarco Murray.
I'm taking the Giants. I think Eli's playing awesome.
Do you have some sort of love for Tom Coughlin?
No, I think Eli's playing great, which he has the last 2 weeks. I think he'll continue that, and I think Dallas is the team that showed up in Arizona.
The Giants, I'm going to take the Giants for the
think.
same reason you said last week. They got whooped a couple weeks ago, played a decent game. They have to win this game,
have to win.
and they will win. Let's go to the phone lines, and we got a call on that wants to say something about the Giants. But first, let me ask you, who you think going to win this game out of the Giants and the Dallas Cowboys?
Wow. Seriously, Dad, you just gonna try me like that? Come on, man. You already know who I'm going with. I'm G-Man for life, and we're gonna go down to Big D, and we're gonna just represent with that front four, and we're gonna get out to old quarterback and see if he can survive 4 quarters.
What about hey, this is Alex Brown talking here. What about DeMarcus Ware? How do you guys plan to, stop this guy? I do think you will stop him, but how do you think they will?
Well, we do have Archie Boy on the ham, number 10, so as long as he's healthy, and my offensive coordinator understands that DeMarcus Ware is one of the best elite pass rushers in the game, so the play calling is going to be, and as such, we got to get the ball out quick. We know that.
Well, I agree.
I don't think we're a big, drop back team. We're going to actually throw the rock around a little bit fast, and as long as we can get the ball to Cruz and Hicks, I think we gonna do the thing.
Did you say Cruz? You know what? You're hurting me right now because I really agree with you that New York is gonna win, but you're putting a lot of faith in an unrestricted free agent.
You're
here.
talking to a guy that bleeds.
Yeah, he does
blue
bleed
and red.
blue and
the only
G-Man.
guy in the Chicago area
get
that
on my
rides around with
nerves.
a freaking New York Giants flag flying from his window.
Yeah, I think
Who
that's
does
enough, I
that?
think that's enough Giants here in Chicagoland.
my
We're all
God.
Bears here, buddy.
And we're,
Wow.
and we're,
There's no love there, huh?
None, zero. That's my older brother, Jason.
Yeah, we know.
hey, Jason, we
Yeah,
appreciate
this is Jason Brown. I just want to congratulate y'all guys on the show. It's hilarious, and Ryan, I don't think you need to be letting them beat you up like that about your
He's got
club.
my back. He's got my back. There's no brotherly love in
we
this
appreciate
family.
that call,
Appreciate it.
Jason.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason. I appreciate it. Stand up for the nondescript
Yeah.
white guy. I
Nondescript
appreciate
white
it.
guy, yes.
Now,
All right,
since you did mention Cruz, AB, I did call in about a question.
Okay.
So Cruz, he did, he came out of nowhere and he put it down. He came from University of Massachusetts, and my question is, in this regard, it's about the celebrations and the penalties that the referees are throwing on these celebrations. So I don't know if you guys heard or seen, but last Saturday there was a high school championship game up in Massachusetts. It was the 4A Super Bowl.
Right.
And it was high school, Cathedral High School versus, Blue Hill. And it was like in the fourth quarter, and the quarterback, young kid named Matthew Owens.
Right.
So he pulls a bootleg, and he breaks around the corner, and as he's running up the field, and you guys can, to get the true perspective, you have to watch it on YouTube.
No, I saw
He's
it.
running up the field, and he pumps his hand one time in the air, and he gets a flag, and they call the touchdown back.
Right.
Now, his dad is irate. The coach dealt with it, and I just want to get y'all guys intake on what you think about, I understand in the NFL you do your gator chop. I know that.
Right.
Okay, but and you guys are making the big bucks, and it's expected. What do we draw the line on? What's excessive celebration?
Well, I did see the play, and it was in a state championship game, and I think it was under a minute left to go in the game, and the kid broke for a 60-yard touchdown. He put his hand up in there. I just believe that rules are rules, and those type of rules are to the referee's discretion. And if he thought that that kid was taunting the other players, which I don't think he was, I thought the kid just put his
There wasn't anybody around him when he did it.
No, nobody was around him. I mean,
No,
I thought it
pointed
was.
in the air really
I thought it was
quickly for
fine. I
about
mean, I don't
4
think it should have been a
yards.
flag. I thought it was one of the worst calls I've seen in a long, long time.
I
So,
think it's different if they're professional level, but here we're talking about high school.
well, wrong is wrong. Whether you're
Yeah, but we're talking about high
10 years
school
old,
in the developmental years. Thanks, Jason, for calling in. But during the developmental years, do you really want to do that to a kid? He just made the great play. He was going to be the hero, and then he became the GOAT, all because of that.
Well, I mean, he has to know the rules, and if you're not supposed to do that, then don't do it. But I think the ref
Is
should have
the
gave him a little
rule-
leeway. And
is the rule
understand.
right?
Listen about this. It was actually his birthday.
Oh,
That kid's
I did not know that.
So every time this kid has his birthday, he's going to think about this. State championship game, he broke free. He scored the winning touchdown, but it got called back because
He pointed to the
he
air.
put his hand up in there.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
All right, so you guys both have the Giants and I have the Cowboys.
Right.
Yes.
And we're going to take this game right here, not because it's the greatest game in the world, but the Eagles versus the Dolphins is an intriguing game.
One going up, one going down.
Yes, exactly.
Will they land on common
I'm going to
ground?
actually take the Dolphins in this game.
Mm-hmm. You're going to take Miami.
I'm gonna
Matt
take
Moore
Miami.
is playing well. What do
I'm
you got,
taking
Alex?
Philly. I'm taking Philly. Michael Vick's coming back.
Michael
I think
Vick
he
is
gives them
helping.
a spark. I think Philly will win this game. I think they're way more athletic than Miami. I think they win.
Did anybody happen to see what the Finns did to Oakland last week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like Oakland.
That's why I have the Dolphins.
I'm torn on this one. Reggie Bush is playing well. I know you don't understand how it pains me to say that. I am not a Reggie Bush fan. I'll take
understand
Dolphins.
why.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins.
You going to go with the
I'm
Dolphins?
going to go with the Dolphins.
Saints versus Titans. We know you got the Saints.
I got
Saints
the Saints.
I got the
versus
Saints. Titans.
I got the
Saints.
Saints.
the Titans are, battling for the life. The
Same
Saints
Tennessee
are,
too.
Come on.
If the Saints win and a
You-
few other things lose, they can clinch the division. Drew Brees looked amazing. I'm going to go with the Saints as well.
You have to. Texas, now this might be the most intriguing matchup amongst good teams. Texas versus the Bengals. The Texans playing with a third-string
Buffalo
quarterback
versus
that got...
the Houston Texans?
No, the Texans versus the Bengals.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes. The Texans playing with the third-string quarterback. Got it done last week, but playing against a much better defense this week. I'm actually going Cincinnati this week.
I'm taking Cincinnati because I think that Houston's going to have to run the ball. Cincinnati has the 6th ranked rush defense in the league. I think they stop the run. So, and they'll put all the onus on that third string quarterback to win it, and I don't think he can win it.
Well, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati as well. I like Andy Dalton. He doesn't turn the ball over too much. AJ Green is playing phenomenal up there. This is gonna be one of those like 10-3 games. It's gonna be a massive defensive battle. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a different quarterback finish the game for Houston. They made some quarterback changes down there. They have 2 brand new guys in it, both Jake Delhomme and Jeff Garcia.
I don't think any one of those guys learned the offense quick enough
I don't
to
think
play.
they know the
I don't think so, but I think they may pull a
maybe
switch.
Jeff Garcia, because it's that same West Coast offense that he played in 4 years with San Francisco and Philadelphia. Yes. So if it's somebody who can make that transition, but we're talking about Jeff Garcia.
Right. It's
He's
Jeff Garcia.
40,
We're talking about
he's-
Caleb Haney.
He's 49 years old.
Take Jeff Garcia or Caleb Haney?
Who would I rather have, Caleb Haney or Jeff Garcia?
Yes.
Right now?
Yes,
Jeff Garcia.
right now, I'm no way. I'm
Jeff
taking
Garcia,
Caleb
I would
Haney.
take Jeff Garcia because of his
No,
experience.
come on.
And his
Really?
moxie and his leadership.
Well, let me ask the fans this. Who would you rather have than Ryan Steele, Alex Brown, and myself, Darius Clark, in Vernon HIlls at the Tilted Kilt this Thursday? Next Thursday, we'll be coming back here, 7 to 9, same time, same show. Hey, we want to thank all you guys for coming out, supporting the show, everybody who's watching us,
Thank you
streaming
so
live.
much. Yes.